So what is Ansible Network Automation? In this video, we're going to go through what the definition of Ansible is. We're going to go through some of the important characteristics of Ansible. And we're going to go through some of the main use cases in the realm of networking. The definition of Ansible is that it's an automation engine built on the Python language, which means that it's not a language itself. And it's made up of modules and playbooks. And I'm showing this diagram right here to really capture the main idea behind Ansible, which is that you have, if you see my cursor right here, you've got one control device in the middle that various people can use to automate and configure a bunch of devices out here on the right. And as this picture shows, some of them can be servers. In our case, we're primarily concerned with networking devices, but Ansible can be used to automate and configure a bunch of things from a centralized place. Some of the characteristics of Ansible include that it is Python-based. Also that it's agentless, which means that nothing is installed on the host, or in our case, the networking devices. And this is actually part of the reason why it's so popular with networking automation in Cisco, is because nothing needs to be installed on the routers and switches themselves. It utilizes SSH to go out and communicate with them. It's also free. It's an open source tool. It utilizes the push model. And with respect to automation, push-pull just has to do with who is initiating, and when the control device is doing the initiating, it's considered the push model. Whether or not they're actually going out to those devices and pushing config to those devices or just pulling information, it's all considered push. And then lastly, the playbooks are written in YAML. And before we get into the networking work cases, I just wanted to say that I did create a full course that will help you get started with Ansible. I take you through everything from the install of GNS3 to installing the network automation appliance, and then building networks and automating them with Ansible. And then real-world networking use cases include monitoring and retrieving status information, configuration control. And by configuration control, I basically mean that there's standards that you define that the devices have to adhere to. It goes out on an interval and figures out if it's adhering to those standards and makes configuration changes if necessary. Ansible can also be used if you want to push out mass changes to the network, and it can also be used in deployments. And so that wraps up this video. If you found it helpful, please give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.